What if I told you that two black athletes won Olympic medals, set world records, and then sacrificed everything, their careers, their safety, their livelihoods, for a 30-second silent protest? What if I told you that one raised fist moment in 1968 would inspire generations of athletes from Muhammad Ali to Colin Kaepernick? Yet these men were called traitors and received death threats. This isn't just about a track race. This is about two men who stood on the world's biggest stage and told America, your flag means nothing if we're not free under it. Before I tell you the story of Tommie Smith and John Carlos, the two athletes who proved that silence in the face of injustice is complicity, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're building a community of truth tellers who refuse to let these stories of black courage be forgotten. At this point in the video, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm even going to answer them myself. Okay, the first one, where were you in 1968 when the protest happened? And what do you remember? And for me, I was in Toledo, Ohio. I was 8 years old. When did you see the first iconic image of their raised fist? And for me at the time, I vaguely remember the conversation about what happened. But as I grew older, the story continued to be brought up. How did it make you feel then versus the way that you feel now? For me, then I was too young to fully comprehend it, but as I grew older, I gained more and more respect for Tommie Smith and John Carlos. Have you told your grandchildren about Tommie Smith and John Carlos? And for me, I have, because I knew what it did for me as the information was passed down, so I felt obligated to do the same. And what does their sacrifice mean to you personally in the context of today's protest? And for me, it means everything. It solidifies the lessons learned about our society, both then and now. And how do you connect their protest to Colin Kaepernick's kneeling? For me, it's an easy one. Courage. The same courage demonstrated by Tommie Smith and John Carlos is the same courage that I saw in Colin Kaepernick. The 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City produced one of the most iconic and powerful moments in sports and social history. In the men's 200-meter sprint, American athletes Tommie Smith and John Carlos won gold and bronze medals respectively. Yet their names would not be remembered solely for their athletic achievement, but for the courageous political statement they made during the medal ceremony. Standing atop the podium, both athletes raised their black-gloved fist as the national anthem played, creating a visual that became a symbol of resistance, unity, and the struggle for civil rights. Their action reverberated far beyond the Olympic track, sparking controversy and admiration while cementing their place as pivotal figures in the intersection between sports and social justice. But before we get to that moment, you need to understand just how extraordinary these athletes were. Tommie Smith and John Carlos were extraordinary athletes before they became symbols of resistance. Smith, born in Clarksville, Texas, and raised in California, was known for his explosive speed. He attended San Jose State University, a hub for both athletic excellence and political awareness, where he trained under Coach Bud Winter. Smith's dominance on the track was unmatched. He set multiple world records in sprints ranging from 200 to 400 meters, and his long stride became his trademark. This wasn't just a good athlete, this was generational talent. John Carlos, born and raised in Harlem, New York, also attended San Jose State, where he combined his athletic abilities with a strong political consciousness. Like Smith, Carlos excelled in sprinting, becoming a top competitor in the 200-meter race. Known for his fiery personality and fearless attitude, Carlos became not only an athlete but also a leader amongst his peers in advocating for justice. At the 1968 Olympic Games, Smith and Carlos reached their pinnacle of their athletic careers. In the 200-meter final, Smith surged forward in the final stretch, setting a world record of 19.83 seconds, a mark that would stand for years. Carlos finished third, securing the bronze medal behind Australian Peter Norman, who earned the silver. The race itself was historic, but the medal ceremony that followed would etch their names permanently into history. The late 1960s were marked by intense racial turmoil and political unrest in the United States. The Civil Rights Movement had made some major victories, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, but systemic racism, police brutality, economic inequality, and social discrimination persisted. The assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in April of 1968, just months before the Olympics, intensified frustrations and griefs in Black communities across the nation. America was burning, and Black athletes were expected to smile, run fast, and stay quiet. Athletes too were not insulated from these realities. Smith and Carlos were part of the Olympic Project of Human Rights, founded by sociologist Henry Edwards. The OPHR sought to leverage the platform of the Olympic Games to draw attention to racial injustice both in the United States and abroad. Its demands included restoring Muhammad Ali's boxing title after he was stripped of it for refusing to fight in the Vietnam War, removing apartheid South Africa and Rhodesia from Olympic competition, hiring more Black coaches, and addressing discrimination in sports institutions. While the call for an Olympic boycott by Black athletes did not materialize, Smith and Carlos decided that they would use the Olympic stage to make their voices heard. The podium provided them an unparalleled platform with the entire world watching. If you're starting to understand why athletes today continue this legacy of protest, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, because what happened next would change sports forever. On October the 16th, 1968, during the medal ceremony for the 200-meter sprint, Smith and Carlos walked barefoot onto the podium, each wearing one black glove. Smith, standing in the center with his gold medal, raised his fist high into the air. Carlos, to his right, with his bronze medal, raised his left fist. Together, their fists symbolized unity and defiance, but every detail of their protest carried meaning. Their black gloves represented Black power and unity. Smith's raised right fist symbolized Black pride, while Carlos's raised left fist symbolized Black unity and solidarity. The athletes wore black socks with no shoes to represent Black poverty in a wealthy America. Carlos wore a necklace of beads to honor those who had been lynched or killed through racial violence in the United States. Perhaps most striking was the silent nature of the protests. No words were spoken. The anthem played. Smith and Carlos bowed their heads, fist raised. This image instantly became one of the most powerful photographs of the 20th century. Australian silver medalist Peter Norman also participated in the protest, wearing a OPHR button on his jacket in solidarity. Norman's quiet act of support demonstrated the international recognition of racial inequality and injustice. Now think about that for a moment. A white Australian athlete stood with them, knowing it would cost him everything, and it did. While many viewed the protest as a courageous act, the backlash was swift and severe. The International Olympic Committee, led by President Avery Brundage, condemned the protest as a violation of Olympic rules against political expression. Now, here's what should make your blood boil. Brundage, who had once allowed Nazi salutes in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, insisted that Carlos and Smith, their protest was inappropriate and demanded their suspension. He was fine with the Nazis saluting Hitler, but black men raising their fists for equality, now that was too much. The U.S. Olympic Committee reluctantly complied, expelling the two athletes from the games and sending them home. Back in the United States, Smith and Carlos faced tremendous hostility. They received death threats. Their athletic careers suffered. They struggled to find employment. Many media outlets labeled them as unpatriotic troublemakers. For years, they were ostracized. Their families suffered, their opportunities, yet neither man expressed regret. They maintained that their actions were not about disrespecting the American flag or the anthem, but about demanding that the country live up to its ideas of freedom and equality. Peter Norman also paid a price. Australia refused to send him to further Olympics despite his qualifying times. He was ostracized in his own country for standing with black athletes. Over time, the perspective shifted. What was once condemned as radical and inappropriate became recognized as one of the most profound acts of courage. Their protest is now celebrated as one of the most powerful political statements in sports history. In the decades that followed, Smith and Carlos continued to be active voices in their communities. Smith became a track coach and educator, while Carlos worked as a coach and speaker advocating for young athletes and civil rights. Their actions inspired later generations of athletes to use their platforms for social justice. From NBA player Mahmoud Abdul-Ruff's NBA anthem protest in the 1990s to Colin Kaepernick's kneeling during the national anthem in 2016, and even through today. In 2005, a statue of Smith and Carlos was unveiled at San Jose State University, honoring their bravery and preserving their legacy for future generations. Peter Norman, who faced backlash in Australia for supporting them, was also later recognized for his solidarity. When Norman passed away in 2006, both Smith and Carlos served as pallbearers in his funeral. That's brotherhood. That's what real allyship looks like. The story of Tommie Smith and John Carlos is more than an account of athletic triumph. It is a story of courage, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to justice. Their raised fists during the 1968 Olympic Games symbolized not only the struggles of Black Americans, but also the universal fight against oppression. At great personal cost, they demonstrated that sports are not separated from society, but are deeply connected to the political and cultural realities of the times. Today, Smith and Carlos's protest stands as a reminder that silence in the face of injustice is complicity, and that even on the world's biggest stage, athletes have the power to challenge the status quo. When people told Colin Kaepernick to just play football, they forgot Tommie Smith and John Carlos. When they say athletes should stay out of politics, they erase these two men who sacrificed everything so we all could be free. Their act of resistance in Mexico City continues to inspire movements for justice and equality across the globe, ensuring that the legacy of their 200-meter sprint extends far beyond the track. Tommie Smith and John Carlos stood on the podium in 1968, raised their fist, and lost everything: their careers, their income, their safety. They received death threats and they were banned from their sports, and their families suffered. They never backed down. They never apologized. They never said it wasn't worth it. Your children and your grandchildren need to know that when athletes protest today, they're standing on the shoulders of giants who paid the ultimate price for using their platform. If this story of sacrifice and courage moved you like it moves me every time I tell it, I need you to do something right now. First, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss these stories that connect our past to our present. Second, like this video and share it with your family, your church, your community. And the next time someone criticizes an athlete for protesting, send them this video. Third, leave a comment and help me teach the next generation. Answer these questions so others can learn. 1. Where were you in 1968, and what do you remember about Tommie Smith and John Carlos's protest? How did people around you react at the time versus how they view it now? 2. What do you think it takes for someone to sacrifice their entire career for a principle? How do you explain that kind of courage to your grandchildren and the upcoming generation? 3. How do you connect Tommie Smith and John Carlos's 1968 protest to Colin Kaepernick's kneeling in 2016? What has changed and what has stayed the same? This is crucial. Read Silent Gesture by Tommie Smith and David Steele. Get the full story in Tommie Smith's own words about what that moment meant and what it cost. You can find this book and our complete Black History book library at the link in the description and in the pinned comments below. These books are how we pass down truth. Don't just watch the videos, own the books. Read them to your grandchildren and the upcoming generation and discuss them at family gatherings. Don't let them forget that 2 Black athletes gave up everything so that future generations could speak truth to power. Don't let Tommie Smith and John Carlos be reduced to a photograph without understanding their sacrifice. Subscribe, share, comment your answers, and build your library. I'll see you in the next video where we will uncover another story of Black courage that changed the world. Take care.